Well, good morning. So good to see familiar faces and a few new ones that I haven't met before, but we appreciate the invite this morning and appreciate Pastor for giving up preaching time for us to go ahead and talk today. It's going to be a little more than a missions moment today. I think, Pastor, you said we had, 2 or 3 hours today, this morning? India time, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to just thank you all for allowing us this opportunity to provide an update. And I'm sure you've heard many things from Adam and Elisa. Adam from his Punjab trip, and then Elisa and Adam with our January trip. It was an amazing time to have them there with us in January for our graduation, our 39th graduation at India Christian Bible College. And so we were very honored, and we want to thank you for allowing your pastor and Elisa to come and join us there. It was a special time for us, and Adam brought gifts for all of us, and students, they were just hanging on to Adam, you know, they were looking up like this, and so, and they were hanging on to him on his arms and all over, and so they had a wonderful time. We had a wonderful time. And again, I want to reiterate, just thank you for your prayers and love and the support that you've shown, starting with my dad about almost 40 years ago, I want to say. And you've continued that faithfully every month. And trust me when I say we cannot do this mission in India without you all, without your prayers and without your support. So without any further ado, let's go ahead. And before I start that, I do want to invite my sister. I call her my sister, Sheila Joseph. Please come up here. And my daughter graduated, oh my goodness, got married last weekend. And so Sheila was able to come and join us for the wedding. And I want her to speak a few words in Malayalam. Malayalam is our Kerala language that we speak. And so you will hear our traditional Malayalam language with Sheila, and I will translate it. So pray for me, okay?
Yeah, good morning to all. ഇന്ന് എനിക്കിവിടെ വന്ന് ചർച്ചിലുള്ള എല്ലാവരെയും കാണാൻ ഇടയായതിൽ ഞാൻ ദൈവത്തെ കൂടുതൽ നന്ദി പറയുന്നു.
I praise God that I have this opportunity to be with you all here this morning.
And I am ഞാൻ especially ഞാൻ thanks പറയുന്നു my sister Lali and my brother Dan എന്നെ ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നതിന് ഞാൻ ഒരുപാട് thankful ആണ്.
And I want to thank my sister Lally and Dan for bringing me here and allowing me to come here to be with you all.
കഴിഞ്ഞ 35 വർഷത്തിനും മുൻപ് തുടങ്ങി എനിക്ക് ഇന്ത്യ ക്രിസ്ത്യൻ ബൈബിൾ കോളേജുമായിട്ട് ചേർന്ന് കർത്താവിൻ്റെ വേല ചെയ്യുവാൻ ഇടയായി.
So over the past 35 years, I've been involved with India Christian Bible College and all aspects of the work that's going on there.
അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ഒരു 34 ഇയേഴ്സ് മുൻപ് ഈ ചർച്ചിലേക്ക് ഞങ്ങളിങ്ങനെ ലെറ്റർ അയക്കുന്ന ഒരു രീതി ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. അപ്പം ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ വന്ന് ചർച്ചിൻ്റെ ബോർഡ് കണ്ടാണ് എനിക്ക് അഡ്രസ് മനസ്സിലായി. സോ അന്ന് ഞങ്ങൾ പല കാര്യങ്ങൾക്കും പ്രെയർ റിക്വസ്റ്റൊക്കെ ആയിട്ട് ചർച്ചിലേക്ക് ലെറ്റർ അയക്കുമായിരുന്നു.
So back in the day, like 35 years ago, I remember writing letters. John would give me instructions on having some needs, and so we would write letters. And so when I came over here and I saw the Watanga Christian Church sign, I remembered all the letters that I typed up to send to this church for the particular needs that ICBC had back 35 years ago. Yeah. So things have changed just a little bit. Yeah.
അങ്ങനെ എനിക്ക് ഒത്തിരി സന്തോഷമുണ്ട് ഇവിടെ നിൽക്കുന്നതിൽ.
I'm so happy to be here standing in front of you all.
നിങ്ങളുടെ എല്ലാവരുടെയും സപ്പോർട്ടും പ്രാർത്ഥനയും ഞാൻ ബൈബിൾ കോളേജിന് വേണ്ടി വീണ്ടും ആവശ്യപ്പെടുന്നു.
And I continue to ask that you pray and support India Christian Bible College.
ദൈവം എല്ലാവരെയും അനുഗ്രഹിക്കുമാറാകട്ടെ.
May God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Well, I want to kind of show you the picture of India this morning. India is the 7th largest country in the world. They have the largest population. They've surpassed China now at 1.5 billion people. And we're going to talk about a couple places. One you're familiar with. Well, actually, Adam has been to both places now, Punjab and Kerala. Down the very bottom corner where you see the star and the little blue state, that is the state of Kerala.
Can you point to it? Back there? Okay.
Kerala is right there at the southern tip. It's if you would have asked John years ago what the seasons are in Kerala, he would have told you we have hot, hotter, and hottest.
That's right.
And he wasn't kidding. It's always hot in Kerala. Now, when it gets cold up in north, up closer to the north side, they see some cool weather and snow up there, but we're in the hot part. But we're going to talk about 2 or 3 places today. Up in the top left-hand corner, where you see the star and the blue state, that is Punjab. That's where we traveled back in October and led a mission trip there. Over to the right, you see another star. That's Bihar. And Bihar represents a ministry that we're involved in that supports 28 churches in the region. Whoops, I don't think I got all those stars there. Anyhow, there's 28 churches up in that area that's supported by the Bihar ministry. Now, again, India is about a third the size of the United States, and they have 1.5 billion people. Just to give you an idea of our little state of Kerala, Kerala is about 1/4 the size of Oklahoma, and Kerala has 35 million people in there. So India remains the most unreached mission field in the world today, and most Indians don't know about Jesus because they've never heard about Jesus. Imagine growing up in a country where you've never heard the glorious saving message of Jesus Christ. Imagine growing up in a country where 60% of the population lives on less than $3 a day. Families go without meals, and children go to work instead of school, all while worshiping idols that can't see them or hear their prayers. Just imagine growing up in a place with no hope. Well, India Christian Ministries have been ministering in India for over 40 years now through our, let me just read this, it'll be a little better. For over 40 years, from the theology training and church planting to meeting the needs of the marginalized tribal, untouchables, and other suppressed and oppressed groups. So theology training, Christian education, preaching Jesus, feeding the poor, helping the sick and disadvantaged, ministering to widows and those in nursing homes, planting churches, teaching children, giving hope. And most of you know us as India Christian Bible College, and that has been our primary focus, but there's very much more involved in the ministry than just that. We'd like to go through those with you real quickly.
Yeah, so about 7 years ago, we started our hospice ministry. We started out with 20 patients, and we've grown up to 110 patients. And there's way more we could do if we had the funds available. So what we do with them is, and we have a video that will kind of explain a little further. So maybe we'll skip the explanation, let the video say for itself. And then go ahead with the autistic.
Yeah, then we have an autistic center located in the state of Kerala, about 2 hours from our campus in Kottayam. In fact, Lisa and Adam went there. We went there together in January. We take care of autistic individuals and those with Down syndrome. And most of these children have been abandoned by their parents, either because their parents don't have the ability or the resources to help them, or they just didn't want them because they're different. And so it's a very important need that the Bethany Special Care Home meets.
And then we have the Widows Ministry. We have a Widows Ministry in the state of Kerala and then also in the state of Punjab.
Then we have the Rice for Hungry program, where we pass out food kits on a monthly basis, mostly in Kerala and Punjab. I think that's about it right now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Back during COVID time, we really ramped that up. During the time when people weren't working, weren't able to work, the Indian government really shut the country down, and during those critical months, we fed about 15,000 people around the campus area.
Yeah, and then we have our secular school. We have one secular school in the state of Bihar, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later on.
And of course, we have our Punjab church. The trip we took with Adam in October, we were able to dedicate our very first church in the state of Punjab. It was a very special dedication to me because that's the place that John had talked about planning the next round of churches. So we planted our first church in October. Pastor Singh's doing a wonderful work there, and I'm sure you've heard a lot about Punjab before. So.
And then, of course, you all know about ICBC. So let's start the video now.
Oops. You may have to start that for me. It didn't want to start. I think we have help going up there to try to get this video started.
ഫോട്ടോ എടുത്താൽ മതി.
So if you watch closely during this video, you'll see all the ministries that we just talked about. You see little bits and pieces throughout there. We call this our corporate video, but it's just kind of an overview of what the ministry is all about and what we're doing in India. Or maybe not. The slide that's on right now is the video. That slide right there, it looks like a blank black slide, but there's a video in there somewhere. While they're looking at that, you know, this church reminds me of a story I heard. A small country church, and the pastor got up one Sunday morning and he announced that there was a particular financial need that the church had. They're going to take a special offering. And whoever gives the most money in this offering gets to choose the next 3 hymns. So they took the offering up, passed the plates. Plates came forward. On the top plate, the pastor saw a check for $1,000. And he's like, wow. And he saw the name on the check. He said, Miss Johnson, come on up. You gave the most money. And the saintly, elderly lady, widow lady comes up from the back, slowly makes her way down the aisle, and she stands up here on the platform next to the pastor. And he said, Miss Johnson, thank you so much for your donation. He said, you get to pick the next 3 hymns. And she stood out looking over the audience with gleaming eyes and a little smile on her face. And she saw the 3 most handsome men out there. She said, I'll take him and him and him. That's a special offering indeed. I think our video's not going to work.
Oh, okay. Next.
So let's just go on with questions. Pastor sent us a list of questions that he thought you'd be interested in hearing and learning about. So part 1, the background question, give a brief overview of how ICBC started and how it has expanded in the last 40 plus years.
Okay, and so that's a great question. And so John Philippos had a dream while he was in Bangalore, India. And he was working for the Indian telephone industry at that time. And he got connected with a Assemblies of God church, my mom and my dad. And so there, he started to grow spiritually because he came from an Episcopalian background. And when he joined the Assemblies of God, he started to read the Bible, and he just had that hunger to see what he could do to further the kingdom of God. And so he had this dream that he wanted to start a Bible college. But of course, you have to have an education for that. And his sister was already here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And so he asked her to sponsor him, and he got accepted at Midwest Christian College. So he moved into the dorms in 1975 and got his bachelor's at Midwest Christian College, and then got his master's at Southern Nazarene University in Bethany, Oklahoma. And during that time, my mom got sick, had cancer, and she passed away in 82. But then in 83, Dad remarried and went back, and he, along with one other person from Midwest Christian College, one other Malayali, went back to India because that was a promise that they had made to God. If you bring us here, we will get our education and go back to India and start the work. And that's how India Christian Bible College was born, I guess I want to say. And so from then, you've heard throughout the times that he came here, all the work that he's done. And so that's how that started 40 years ago, a man with one vision, with one dream, and he was set on just bringing his people the awareness of Jesus Christ. He said, what better place than for me to go back to my country, which is predominantly Hindus, 90% would be Hindus, and then we've got Muslims, Buddhists, and very bottom 2% Christianity. And so that's what led him back to India. So that's our story.
And when he came, there were a lot of people that came with him.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of young men that came for the same reason, to get their Christian education and go back to India. And out of all those men, only 2 went, and John was one of them. What Lally left out was she was 15 when she came here. No,
Yeah, so I came, so Dad came in 75, Mom came in 76, my brother and I came in 77.
11.
I
You were
was
11.
11. Yeah, I was 11. And so I'm one of those people that, I'm not going back. I like it here in the U.S. I'm staying. You go on back, and so.
So the next question is, how did you come to be in position? By the way, feel free to ask questions while we're
Yeah.
going through this. We'll make this real informal. How did you come to be in the position you're in after John's passing? Well, Lally was on a trip with her dad, probably
2019.
I was going to say 6 or 7 years ago. And one of John's biggest fears was when he passed that the ministry would cease. His life's work would cease to exist. And Lally just kind of told him off the cuff there, Dad, I'll take over if you want me to. He was very happy, and he said, okay. And what she meant by that is, I'm already taking the checks, the donations, and sending them to India every month. I can keep doing that. But it obviously became much, much more than that. And in fact, it became more than just a nonchalant promise to Dad. It became a calling of God that Lally and I are in this position today. That's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
It's not just saying, yeah, we'll take it over. It's God has called us to do this, and we're humbled by that and thankful for that, actually. So what is the primary emphasis of your current mission works? Well, we talked a little bit about that. Obviously, India Christian Bible College remains our primary focus. There's 1.5 billion people, and John realized the same thing that we know today. One person cannot reach 1.5 billion people. And that's the reason for the existence of India Christian Bible College, to train young men and women to be preachers and teachers and missionaries and evangelists, and that remains our primary focus. But we're involved in much, much, much more than that. And so recently our primary focus has become Punjab. Punjab's really a ministry within a ministry, doing a great work up there. Pastor Singh has grown from about 20 members when John first met him to 100 to 150 members now. He's a very active pastor. He has a heart for the people in the slums. We went and visited them as well, and we'll probably talk more about that later. And then another ministry that's very important to us is the Bihar ministry, where our secular school is at. And that's ministry in Bihar supports 28 churches, which represents well over 2,000 church members in the area. Last year in March in Bihar, our principal, James Jacob, went there, and he performed 82 baptisms and 8 ordinations. So it's really an incredible ministry. Matter of fact, I remember telling, we were having a board meeting a few weeks ago, and I remember telling the board members, I said, if Bihar, if this ministry was an investment and the different ministries within were investment funds, I would be investing my money into Bihar right now. That's where God's working. God is moving mightily in Bihar and Punjab, but that's really our primary focus right now.
So Bihar, the initial project was a secular school there, and the reason for the secular school was so that way we could bring in some funds to do the mission work. And so the individual that started that was James Matthew and his wife Binny. Well, James Matthew passed away in 2020 from COVID. And so then Sister Binny, his wife, was like, okay, now what am I going to do? Because by that time, they were an established secular school. They had over 600 students that would come to the school, and about a quarter of them would stay on campus. And so that's how they made their money. And so so she prayed about it, and we also convinced her, you should continue this work just because your husband passed away. Don't stop this because you've got pastors that are depending on you for this mission. And so we went there in 2022. We went there, we stood with her, supported her. And so right now she has over 800 students that are coming to that campus. And so last year she had 23 churches. This year, because of the increase in the tuition, she has 28 churches. And she's got churches in the country of Nepal and in Bhutan. So we started out in the Bhutan border. Now she's got the permission to go inside Bhutan. And so they are just growing leaps and bounds. Dad would always say, missionaries go to die in Bihar. Because it's a graveyard for missionaries because the work was just so difficult, so cumbersome. But God has just done an amazing job with the secular school. And of course, we cannot say anything about Jesus on the campus itself because it is a secular school and they do get
visits from the government all the time.
Yeah, spot checking. They will come in unannounced to make sure to see what you're doing and make sure you're not talking about Jesus, because we've got Christians, we've got Hindus, we've got Muslims, all types of students that are coming into our campus. And so we are strictly there to give them an education. But the wonderful thing is this has been going on for 20 years now, and some of our students that went to school at Carmel Mission School, they've graduated and they've come back to be a teacher for our school now. And so that's like the biggest testimony, because they believe in our school, and we love this mission. And I'll talk a little bit later about a trip that we're going to be taking in October of this year and all the things that we're going to be doing. It's an exciting trip that's going to be
During one of those
happening.
government checks, it was kind of a funny little story. They came in unannounced, and there is a church and a parsonage on the campus. It's pretty far back. It's about a 5-acre campus, and it's kind of at the back. But they came in to check, and Sister Benny, thinking quickly, sent some students to the chapel, to the church, and said, take all the chairs and arrange them in a circle. So that when they came, and they did go, they went to the church, and they said, what do you do here? Oh, we hold just meetings and talks and just conversation. We sit in a circle. And so she...
And literally, there was a baptistry right outside of that chapel, but they did not see that.
They didn't see it.
They did not see that. See how good God is? I mean, he just blinded them from that, and they just walked away.
Yeah.
And so because many baptisms have been conducted in that baptistry on campus, and so.
So that kind of leads into the next couple of questions. What are some of the current struggles in accomplishing our goals, and what are some of the difficulties in ministry given the hostility of the government towards Christianity? So it's much different than it was when John went there 40 years ago. Back then, he could take the van out with the speakers and street preach and pass out tracts, and you can't do that anymore. It's very much closed. The current administration, the current Prime Minister Modi, he's very much Hindu, the religion of Hinduism, and he wants every Indian in India to be Hindu as well. They've gone so far as to make false claims that if you became a Christian, if you'll convert back to Hinduism, we'll give you land and we'll give you money. And luckily, none of our converts have ever done that, but we've heard of some that did.
Right.
And they got nothing. It was all just a lie. But they're very militant about Indians becoming Hindus again.
Right. And that's the same thing with Muslims. If you became a Muslim, come back. We'll provide tuition for your kids to go to college. We'll build you whatever. But they come back, but nothing ever happens because those are liars. Yeah, we know our the government, right? And so.
Any questions about any of that?
See, we're doing so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges being in charge of a foreign mission and living in the United States? That's a very good question. One of our big challenges, honestly, it sounds a little strange. We have a challenge actually getting money into India. Again, Modi, the prime minister, when he came into power, he kind of shut down the flow of wire transfers from the United States to India. He wants them all to go through the State Bank of India now, which is located in Delhi, where he's at. And he wants you to have a specific account. That way they can see what monies are coming into India. And we applied for a State Bank of India account over 2 years ago now.
Yeah, 2 different times.
Haven't gotten it.
I don't think we will, but that's okay.
We found other ways to get money.
We've got 9 other ways to get money over there, because that little thing is not going to stop us from working and doing mission work in India. And so we've been managing for the last 3 years. Yeah. So.
And so even though we live in the United States, we do spend significant time in India. I was adding up before our fundraiser in April. If we added up the times that Lally was there and I was there, both individually and together, we were 1 week shy of being in India 5 months last year. So we travel a lot.
Yeah, so one of the challenges, I wouldn't say it's a major challenge, it's the 10,000 miles difference. You know, they're clear across the world. Right now, it's nighttime over there. So yeah, so it's day over here, night over there, and then of course there's the language barrier, because I don't read or write Malayalam, but I'm able to speak. But I've got wonderful people like Sheila and others that have been with the college and with the ministry for many years that I trust, and they support me, and so we're a team, and so we're able to communicate, and then also we have our Zoom calls or WhatsApp chats, video calls, and so that's how we stay connected even with the 10,000 mile difference.
And those are pretty much on a daily basis.
On a daily basis, yeah.
So Natalie mentioned the language. That's the other challenge. India has 28 states.
Yeah.
They have 22 languages, and they have 720 dialects. So in the state that we're in Kerala, the language is Malayalam, and Lally and Sheila speak that very well, obviously. You go one state over to Tamil Nadu, the language is Tamil. State up in Karnataka, the language is Kannada, and just go on and on and on. So if you don't speak the language, it's kind of hard to get around. Luckily, we have several people that speak multiple languages that help us when we travel.
Yeah, so if I go to Punjab, I'm lost because I don't speak their language. And so I have to find somebody that knows English and that will be able to translate for me. And so that's how it is in every state in India. Yeah.
So next question Adam gave us was, what is the biggest God moment you have seen in the last few years?
Yeah, so like Dan mentioned about the baptism and the ordination. I mean, to me, that was phenomenal. It was just in one setting, 82 people being baptized, and then 8 ordinations. And so, Sister Binny said, if y'all come in October, we'll have that many or even more that are ready to be baptized in October. And so they are hungry for the gospel, and they are ready to commit their lives. And those are the kind of people that, Prime Minister Modi with the BJP party will try to convert them back to Hinduism, but none of our people will go back ever. And so we thank God for that. And then tell them about you.
Well, another thing really Lally and I have just seen since taking over this ministry less than 5 years ago, it's just the way that God provides in ways that we didn't imagine, couldn't imagine. God steps in, and sometimes it's needs we didn't know we had, that God steps in and just provides the needs, whether it's person or whether it's financial or whatever it is. It's just been amazing to see God's hand in this ministry and God's hand working throughout India. There's another kind of God moment that I'm sure Adam told you about. On our trip in October, it was the night he was preaching on a Thursday night.
It was Adam's fault.
By the way, we had to kind of move. We stayed moving on that trip. We didn't want to stay in one place too long. And so every day we'd be in a different location. We would do medical camps. By the way, thank you all for those of you who donated. Your donations not only provided his trip, but provided the funds to buy the medicines. We hired a doctor to help us with the medical camp. And we had people coming from all around. Some brought their prescriptions. I guess they'd been to the doctor but couldn't afford to have their prescriptions filled. And we filled those prescriptions. Then other people came and we gave general wellness checks and gave them medicines and prescriptions on the fly. And then every day after that, we would go to visit the slums. I'll never forget the first day we went to the slums. We got back on the bus, and I looked at the faces of all the Americans there, and there was just this look of
heaviness.
Oh my goodness, it was, they were just distraught at what they'd seen. And I remember telling them, Adam, you probably remember this, I remember saying to them, I said, you know what the difference is between us and them? It's the zip code into which we were born. That could very easily be us living in poverty, not having food, not having the things that we all take for granted as Americans every day. So the other God moment I was going to tell you about was on Thursday. Adam was preaching, and again, we tried to lay low. And somewhere during the medical camp that day, we had 2 individuals. I won't mention their initials, their names, but their initials
Adam and Terry.
Adam Levitt and Terry Hull. if you don't realize, Adam stands out there. The tall white guy. And
get him.
And Terry, the big bald guy.
That's your story.
We were 0.2 of a mile from the Pakistan border, and they saw a bridge. They thought, oh, let's walk over that bridge and see what we can see. And I don't know that was the incident, but I'm going to blame it on Adam and Terry. So later that night, the military police got called on us. They came right when we were finishing up the service. We were loading in the bus, and they drove by and saw us. We're like, oh, goodness. So we went on to the pastor's house where we were having a late dinner, very late dinner that night. And sure enough, they showed up. And I'm sure I haven't told you this, but I'll just read it real quickly. They showed up, talked to the pastor there for a minute, and then they came in the room and did this to me. I was like, oh, my goodness, what is this? So I went over and talked to the man. He spoke very good English, and his tone was very stern at first. He asked me, do you have permission to be here? I said, yes, we do. Because we had a tourist visa, which means we could be anywhere in India. We just couldn't be doing what we were doing. We did not have permission to be in any kind of ministry, or even attend a service. And this guy was smart. He knew what we were doing. And after a minute, he said, where are you from? I said, I'm from Oklahoma. He said, really? He said, I have a sister in Dallas. I'm like, oh, really? That's just 3 hours from where I live. It's really close. And then I said, my wife's from Kerala. He said, she's Malayali? I said, yeah. He said, I'm from Kerala. I'm like, wow, that's two big coincidences. Sister lives close to us, and he's from Kerala. And then the tone of the conversation changed at that point. I don't remember how we finished it off, but we shook hands. He went back outside and talked to Pastor. Pastor came in a few minutes later and said, that was the military commander of the entire region. He gave me his name and his phone number. He said, next time you have a service, call me. I'm a believer. Like, holy smokes. Anybody else that would have been on patrol that night, we would have been arrested. We would have had our visas revoked, and we would have been sent back home. And we would probably, Adam, you and I could never go to India again because they wouldn't give us another visa. So that was a huge God moment. It was amazing to see God deliver us in such an amazing way in that trip. And so, yeah, that's a good God moment there.
Yeah.
Where do you feel God is leading ICM in the coming years? Well, again, when Lally agreed to take this ministry over from her dad, she thought she would maintain, and that's not what happened. Again, as I said, God called us to this ministry, and God is growing it. God is leading us in a way. We expect the ICBC enrollment to double in the next 2 to 3 years, which will be all we can handle. It'll be close to 100 kids, and that's all we can handle. The ministry in Punjab is blooming. The ministry in Bihar is just going crazy. So we're really focusing on those 3 areas right now while maintaining our other charitable ministries that we do. And that's kind of where we're going in the coming years, where we see it going.
Yeah, and also we want to encourage the work that's going on in Bihar, because already there are 28 churches because of that school, and Sister Binny, she says that we can even do more, and so I think, and we've got Punjab Ministry. Pastor Singh, he's just taking off. Like we said, he's got over 120 members in his church, and that could grow to 200 because there's a building project that's going on right now. And so thanks to Christ Church of Yukon, they were able to send some funds over there to purchase a piece of land, and then also they're building a building right now on that land. And so good things, great things are happening, exciting things are happening. Yeah, So
what future short-term trips and works are planned in the next year?
I'll talk about this for just a second. As I mentioned, our desire is to go to the state of Bihar in the month of end of October, so beginning of November. And we want to take about a 10-day trip, that's including the travel time. And the 7 days will be on ground, and we've got lots of things. Bidney and I have talked about where we would do the baptisms, ordinations, and then we want to pass out food kits at the leprosy colony. There is a colony there, and so we would go visit them. And then we've got churches that are around the school area that we would visit, and then on campus we will do a medical camp. And so you're wondering, like, where are those kids going to be? The reason we picked this date, the end of October, beginning of November, is because there is a big Hindu holiday where the students are sent home for about 15 days. So we've got that opportunity to bring in people from the villages and provide them with medical camp. And then also we're interested in bringing all 28 of our members, 28 church members, onto our campus for that. I keep wanting to say graduation. I guess it's graduation time, but
Wedding.
for the baptisms and the ordinations. And so she's expecting about 2,200 people on campus there, and so it's going to be a wonderful time. And we've got a couple that's interested in going with us, and then of course Dan and myself, and then we're looking for 4 more people. And so because we can't take too many people out there, because of course with the government, and we have to be careful with what we do, where we go, what we say. And so
So I think our criteria is under 6'5".
yes, there you go. Adam, you're out.
Just
yeah.
teasing.
No.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah, and so that is an upcoming trip that I'm very excited about, that we're putting it together. And so if anyone is interested in coming with us, the cost is $3,000 per person. That's, I kind of priced the flight ticket. That's the only thing that might change, but that includes the flight, hotel, food, and then of course all of the activities that we're doing, because we have to provide all of the funds for the medical camp and for the food kits and everything else that we do, because we don't want to be a burden to Bidney over there, because she has all of her things that she needs to do, and transportation, renting the bus or whatever, a big van to carry us back and forth and things like that. So if you're interested, come see me and I'll give you more information on it.
So the last question is, how can we best partner with India Christian Ministries to reach India for Christ? Now I have another video, but I'm dubious whether it's going to play now. Let me see. It didn't play. Can you start that video by any chance? The one that's on the screen with the little girl, is there a... This is a video of that we took while in Punjab, while going through the slums. Kind of shows the condition they live in. We were able to pass out food kits, blankets, some clothing. The need there is just so great. In fact, at Christmas time, we took up some money. Lally and I donated some money, and a few others, and we sent some money to Pastor Singh, and we said, buy all the slum families, provide them with a food kit during the Christmas season. We want them to have some good food during Christmas. I told him, I said, whatever money's left over, because there was going to be some money left over, I said, I want you to buy all the slum kids a toy. These kids have never had a toy they don't have a toy now. They've never had a toy in their life. And so a few days later, I got back pictures and video of the pastor handing out the food kits to all the slum families, and it was very nice to see. And I waited a few days, and I kept thinking, okay, I want to see the pictures and video of the kids getting their first toy. And I waited, and finally, Pastor messaged me back. He said, they don't want a toy, they want shoes. And so even though we had just been there and saw the need firsthand, I was still so blind to how needy they truly are. They chose shoes over a toy. So that was really a moment. And I don't guess this video is going to play either. Doesn't look like. Oh, too bad. It was a good video. It just emphasized that these people live in little. I'm sure Adam showed you pictures back in October, November. They live in huts made of bamboo, tarps for a roof, no electricity, no running water. It's just really just abject poverty that they live in. It's a sad thing to see, but we're working in that area. Matter of fact, I've announced a new initiative at the fundraiser this year. I think that's the next slide. I'll just go ahead and skip this. I'm offering people the opportunity to adopt a slum child or slum family. For $15 a month, you can supply a food kit. And my goal is to get enough individual donors that we can supply all the slum families that one food kit per month at $15 a month. You know, it's less than the price of going out to eat fast food these days. And so if you'd be interested in that, we'd love to show you how to become a part of that program. You know, when we took this ministry over less than 5 years ago, this ministry was probably 99% church supported and always had been. And that was a wonderful thing. The reality of the situation is that over the years, church membership has dwindled. Some churches have closed. Some churches got new leadership and went a different direction. And as a result, probably the last 15 years, our monthly donations from churches have dropped in half. And so the church support is no longer enough to make this ministry run every day. And so we've begun leaning on individual support. I'm really happy to say that in 2024, our support was made up of 30% from churches and 70% from individuals, mostly in Christian churches just like this, that wanted to be a bigger part of a ministry across the world and helping people reach and hear the saving message of Jesus Christ. So we have a program too. It's called Faithful 50, and we have a few of these cards. If any of you are interested, Faithful 50 program means you'll donate $50 a month. That'll help us keep the college running, help us do more food kits, and all the charitable ministries that we're involved in. And it'd be wonderful if you're interested in doing that. $15 a month for the slum family, $50 a month for the Faithful 50 program, and that's how this ministry will continue going forward.
Yeah, so if you're interested, we do have some cards, and please come see me, and we'll help you sign up for this opportunity. It's a fantastic opportunity. So this is one time I want y'all to get your phones out. Please get your phones out, and if you will scan that QR code, we do have a Facebook page that we periodically update all of the work that's going on in India with our mission with ICM, and so you will be able to follow us, and you will be able to get updated information on what's happening. And so if you will follow us, I would greatly appreciate it. Yeah, it works.
Okay, do you have any more questions or comments? Adam, anything you wanted to add? Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it this morning.
Yeah,
God bless you.
thank you again for allowing us to be here this morning. God bless you all. Thank you so much.